Yeah, so moving into Mario, I have a little bit of a different background. Of course, like everybody, I grew up, playing Mario games and SNES, Super Nintendo, Switch. But wasn't like a rabid fan, more of a casual fan. A lot of times my sister would play on the SNES and I would watch her play because she was a bully and she never let me play. I'm just kidding, that's not true. But I always enjoyed like watching it for, that meant I didn't have to deal with any of the stress. But as I talked about on a couple shows ago, we went to Universal Studios Hollywood and we got to check out Super Nintendo World. And so my kid, who's 3, ever since we went is like, when are we gonna go see Mario? Because now this thing exists and I want more of it. So there was a lot of hype in this house around the Mario movie. We watched the Mario trailers nonstop, every clip. We watched it as if it was a movie in and of itself. So I was really excited going into this movie. Number one, it also just looks like a lot of fun. I'm a really big fan of Illumination, which is something I never thought I would say, but again, having a 3-year-old, I've been forced to watch Minions and Despicable Me and all those movies a ton of times, and they're really good. I mean, not just the animation, but the stories are really good. The humor is obviously or is oftentimes really good. They kind of seems like they have their finger on the pulse in a way that maybe Pixar did 10 years ago, where everything that kind of came out was a hit. And yeah, so anyway, I love this movie. I thought it was fantastic. I'm probably going to go see it again with Calliope this week. She's requesting another viewing. She doesn't understand the disconnect between just because we went and saw it in the theater doesn't mean that we can't go home and just watch it as many times as we want. So, which makes me happy because when I was a kid, it took 6 months for a movie, at minimum for a movie to go from the theaters to home video. So if she gets to experience a little bit of that, I'm sure it's like 2 or 3 weeks, but it's
It's
still
all that's
something.
the problem with all this young generation
Yeah.
is they want everything now, and, that's
And she was
just,
just born into a world of having a ton of movies at her disposal, so she'll never understand. And she also doesn't understand the concept of rewinding a video after you're done, but we'll wait till she's a little bit older. But, everybody I went with my wife and Callie and my dad, who is not a Mario guy, loved it as well. I mean, I think it was perfectly cast. I think, like you said, the way that they were able to introduce you into this world, I was amazed at how many things they were able to throw at you in one 90-minute movie. Have it make sense. Have the movie, just the pacing of it was really well done. And hey, I even like Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, which that says enough. That's probably my greatest review, I think.
yeah, nice. Yeah, I agree.
Hey Vince, what did you think of did you see Super Mario
I
Brothers?
saw Super Mario Brothers yesterday, and I actually really liked it. I think we were kind of talking about kind of the resurgence of the going crowd again. I feel like it was the '90s again. I haven't seen this theater that packed since we moved here. It kind of sucks because then everyone was like kicking my chair throughout the whole movie, so I was kind of
That's
annoyed by that.
that's
But
part of it, dude.
the movie itself was fantastic. I did like Seth Rogen way more than I thought I was going to. Um and visually I thought it was stunning, dude. I love just the texture of each character cuz
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a weird thing to say, but like the texture of their nose, it wasn't just that they didn't feel like real living things, rather they kind of felt like toys.
Vince,
Did
we
you get
draw the
that?
line at textures of
Textured
noses.
noses.
Dude,
That's
textured noses is what
That's
I'm
too
all
far,
about.
dude.
that sounds sexual, and we don't go for that here, okay? We don't go for textured noses here.
Well, in that case, I'm out.
No, no, I agree, and I gotta be honest, I knew we were in for a good time in like, one of the opening scenes where Mario and Luigi are running to their first and only job, and it becomes a side scroller, and then you just
Yeah.
see Mario like, I thought that was such a like, there's little things, right? I mean, there's the big overarching big picture things, but
There's
there's
so
little.
much yeah, like, so much attention to detail with little things. Like, you would even see, like, when there was, like a wide shot and, like, just looking around in the frame, there's, like, interesting stuff happening, even if it was for, like, 1 second. There'd
Right.
be, like, interesting or funny things or, like yeah, like, you could tell, like, a lot of, like, passion went into, making sure to do everything. I mean, like, like, I wasn't sure I wasn't sure at first, like, me, like, watching the trailers, like, for one thing, like I know, initially the like people were unsure about the voice acting, like particularly like
Chris
Chris
Pratt.
Pratt, where it's like, oh, like why wouldn't they do the accents? But I feel like right off like first scene, they like completely justified. Um, if I guess we won't say too much about it, but yeah, first scene was it's just like completely justifies it. And I was like, oh, dude, that's awesome. Um, and I was also not sure about the fact that they started off like sort of like in the real world, and
Yeah.
then they like go into the Mushroom Kingdom. But and then it sort of ties back at the end. And I was actually thought that was like an awesome, like the way they did it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, going back to what Vince said, I gotta agree. It felt like it really did feel like a throwback movie, like a summer movie. I know we're only in April, so it's not summer, but the theater was packed. I had a hard time finding seats. You know, it felt so much like a 90s movie that I ended up getting in line an hour before the movie started, and I didn't even have to. Like I had my seat, everything was worked out, but I just wanted that experience again,
It was
to
like an
go
old. You
in.
made it feel like an old midnight showing when you stood in
Yeah,
line and you dressed up
yeah.
and
Yeah, I dressed up in my finest Walmart screen printed tee and just stood there. And I was just, I was looking longingly at people. Of course, like nobody was lining up behind me. Why would you? Right? Because you already have your seat and your time and there's no need. But I was just using it as an opportunity to make new friends. And, after the movie, man, I was just greeting everybody out in the lobby like, hey, did you see Super Mario? You were in the same theater as me? Okay, what'd you think? And we were just talking about it. And it was awesome, man.
nice.
It felt like a communal experience. Everybody was and talk about demographically, dude, I don't know if I've ever seen a movie as demographically just like all over the place. There was young people, there were kids, there were, people in their 30s like me, there were older people. I mean, it was just across the board awesome. And it felt like, you know, especially in the US of A these days, there's not a lot we kind of all get down and dig on at the same time. And man, it's so cool. And it's sad that it has to be a movie, but it really did feel like you know what it felt like? This is the perfect way of describing this. It felt like the first week of Pokemon Go. When Pokemon Go first came out, and people, I remember playing with Vince, and we were just driving down the street, and we could see people that were playing, and we literally rolled down our window and be like, "Hey, you guys playing Pokemon Go?" And guy was like, "Yeah, dude, there's a Clefairy over here." We're just like, "Yeah, let's pull over."
Dude, that is when Pokemon Go is when like humanity peaked, dude. And ever like there's just like joyous, like that month was like just joyous peace across the land, and like everyone's playing. Like you'd see like a 85-year-old grandma with like their grandson and like alongside like a dude from that just came out of the gym, and they're just playing, dude.
Yeah, and everybody's like, everybody was just shaking hands across the aisle. It was like either a tragedy just happened or Pokemon Go was released. Thank God it was Pokemon Go, but yeah, it was cool. It was just a cool experience. I would be remiss if we didn't talk about peaches, 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 peaches. And if you saw the movie, you'll know what that means. If you didn't, it's no spoiler. But yeah, I mean, I thought the comedy was on point too. I thought they did a really good job. But maybe let's talk a little bit about who they cast, because you did bring up a good point. Chris Pratt seems like anything Chris Pratt's in these days is controversial. I understand it a little bit more for this movie because you do have a built-in audience of 40 years of people that, understand Mario's voice to be one thing and very protective of that. But what did you guys think about the overall just voice cast? I mean, I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, but he was right. I think Chris Pratt said like, they're like, he's just like, I think you guys are gonna like it. Just watch it. Like, and he was right. Like, I feel like they super justified it, but yet they still gave us like, he still had the most amazing like yoo-hoos and like all the
Yeah,
like Mario-isms that
right.
like were throughout it. And like they did a good job of like doing different versions of Mario too, like Luigi, Luigi. Of course, like Luigi is sent to the Luigi's Mansion world,
Yeah.
and I like it too how they set that up, like how they were like, uh, "Oh, Luigi, you can't just be scared all the time," and he's like, "You'd be surprised." and
Yeah.
and we got a little bit of Luigi's Mansion, and then of course, like later on, we got like Mario Kart, just tons of awesome Mario Kart action, and
Rainbow Road.
I feel like it was just meta enough to like have fun with it, but it wasn't like in a time where like everything feels like it has to be meta. Like if it didn't feel too meta, like it wasn't like jokes upon jokes upon jokes. It was like just enough, I thought.
And they open you up to all these different worlds that now I want to see like spin-off movies of all this. If they don't do a Luigi's Mansion would be massive because they stylistically they did it in a really interesting way that was fun, but it was still kind of creepy. Um and yeah, so I definitely came away. I think probably everybody's going to come away from that scene wanting a Luigi's Mansion movie. So rating system, I'm going to give Super Mario Brothers movie 5 out of 5. I'm giving it the full
Oh,
5
you're
out of
going out
5.
of 5, dude.
I
Wow.
have to. I have to.
I
That's how awesome it was.
dude, like it sounds ridiculous to say this, but I feel like it was like kind of flawless. Like for the movie that they were going for and what they set out to be, it nailed it, dude.
It did nail it, man. It just cast the widest net possible, and this movie's gonna keep making money. It doesn't have any competition until Guardians of the Galaxy, and
It,
it's just gonna roll, dude. It's gonna
it
keep
gave
rolling.
us Cat Mario and Raccoon Mario. I don't know if I'm not actually. I don't actually remember if those are the official names, but yeah, dude, it gave us
It really did.
Donkey Kong. Yeah, they kind of made him like a frenemy. It was pretty great. Um,
Yeah, a
yeah,
frenemy that
they
I
gave
want to
us some
see
more.
more of, like a buddy. Like I want to see more from Mario and Donkey Kong together. Like I feel like they have unfinished business. I'd love to see it. What's your rating, Dave? Was that
Dude, yeah. I mean, I kind of want to give it like a 4.5, but I don't really see any reason to not make it a 5.5. Like I thought it was awesome.
this might be the first consensus 5 out of 5 stars we've ever given to anything. Vince, come in hot, dude. Tell us what's your rating
I'm giving it a 1.6.
that you stole from somebody else's rating, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
just
yeah.
slipped it in the crack behind you.
I actually 5 out of 5, dude. I liked it more than I thought I was going to. I love that it was short. Like it didn't feel long at all. I felt like I was kind of bummed that it was over. And I'm excited to see all the spin-offs. And I hope that they
And
come.
also they added like some awesome things too. Like I don't think I don't know what the name of that the creature, this sort of like what was it, like a star sort of creature that was in the cave that was just like
Oh,
Yeah.
the
super
water drop thing?
just
Yeah.
just dark and gothic, dude. Like
Pure
I thought that was
garbage.
like amazing.
That was so good. That was so good. And I mean, that's what I mean. Like, and when I say like it reminds me of like a Pixar movie from 10 years ago, because that's the kind of stuff Pixar used to do, where it was like, it's obviously a kid's movie, but you're making dark. I don't know if there's ever been a darker joke made in a kid's movie before. All right, so
Yeah.
5 out of 5 for all of us, consensus.
First
Wow.
time.
So all of those
Wow.
critics that gave this 50% on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever their egregious score is, you're all wrong. Okay.